Thank you so much, Sonia. Just flipping through this book, already enthralled by it. We're mixing in a little African-American history with our author spotlight today. We welcome Mark Jones now with his new book, Doin the Charleston, Black Roots of American Popular Music and the Jenkins Orphanage Legacy. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Just with talking with you just for the past couple of minutes or so, this book, already I'm flipping through, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really? Tell us about why it's taken you 5 years to do this. Why has this been such a passion for you?
I'm a Charleston tour guide. I'm a history nut.
Yeah.
And I know the story of the Jenkins Orphanage. I thought I knew it.
Yeah.
And then I started researching it and found out those things that a lot of people don't know.
Right.
The basic story is, in December of 1891, a free black slave named Reverend Daniel Jenkins found 4 black children hiding in a boxcar.
Yeah.
And he brought them home. And 2 years later, he had over 500 black children in his care. He was broke. He had no money. He was a poor black minister in the South. So he started a boys' brass band that marched the streets of Charleston to playing military music. And they became very popular. They would pass the hat for coins.
Of course.
They rented a bus and traveled up and down the East Coast from Jacksonville, Florida in the wintertime to New York City in the summertime. And they were bringing in $10,000 a year in coins. By 1910.
Yes.
The Jenkins Orphanage Band became very popular. They played on Broadway. They performed at 2 presidential inaugurations, Teddy Roosevelt and William Howard Taft. They played in Europe. Some of the Jenkins musicians went on to play with Count Basie, Duke Ellington.
Of course.
It's an amazing story, and the dance itself called the Charleston.
Let's talk about that, because I was reading right quickly as I was thumbing through, because I'm a quick reader sometimes at that, and I saw Geechee Step, which is what the Charleston was called, and the song was actually written by
James P. Johnson of New York City. And
he wrote it to the steps or the movements in the dance that the orphans from the Jenkins
in the Harlem nightclubs.
Yeah.
And the great migration of blacks up to the northeast.
Yeah.
They had the dance halls, and there was a lot of Geechee people from the South. And he played for them, and he watched the steps. And the Jenkins Orphanage used to perform on the steps of Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem. And he saw the band playing, and he wrote a song one day called Charleston, based on the dance steps of the Jenkins kids and the dances he saw in the clubs. And he wrote it called the Charleston, and it premiered on Broadway 2 years later with 18 dancers doing the dance steps called the Charleston. The first time white audience had ever seen that style of dancing, and that's when the rage took over in the 1920s.
In the 1920s there, and of course you've got some phenomenal pictures in here that kind of detail the history of that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I found a lot of pictures on the Library of Congress, but I tried to do it chronological. You got some great pictures of Charleston right at 1900, how the streets were run down. Pictures of James P. Johnson playing the piano. Pictures of the Jenkins Orphanage Band performing in Europe. It's just an amazing story that I've been working on for 5 years, which a lot of people don't know.
A whole lot, and I want to, and I'll say this in closing, and I really think you should pick up this book, because it reads on the back, then tragically in 1919, one of the Jenkins musicians committed a brutal murder which shocked America. That's intriguing. That's a little tease for you to pick up the book. It's called Doin the Charleston. Mark, thank you so much for letting this be your baby over the past 5 years.
It has been.
And learning a lot more than what we probably thought we knew. All right, well now over to John for Trial Tuesday.